Hello and welcome to the podcast, Jack of all trades, master of none. Today we're going to be talking about tardigrades, commonly known as water bears or moss piglets. They are super duper cool, teeny tiny aquatic creatures. Just how teeny tiny is a great question. So for the most part, they'll range from 0.004 inches to 0.02 inches or 0.1 to 0.5 millimeters. So they are truly microscopic creatures. They have 8 legs. They mostly consume the fluid inside of various plant cells and algae. They have a special needle-like appendage that helps them pierce the shell of the outer wall of the cell, allowing them to slurp up that liquid. Occasionally they can eat other smaller animals such as like nematodes and even other tardigrades. They are cannibals. They also live all over the world. They can live basically anywhere there is liquid water. They've been discovered in oceans, freshwater lakes, rivers, in the Himalayas, all the way down deep in the lakes of the Great Lakes. They've even been discovered in the water film that like coats mosses and lichens like in the woods. They don't live on humans and they don't carry any diseases that are harmful to humans, so they're literally just like the perfect little guy. I love them so much. On average, they'll live between 3 months and 2.5 years, but there is an exception to this. Now, the exception to this is something most people are familiar with if they do know about tardigrades or water bears, and that's the fact that they can survive virtually any circumstances. They are nearly indestructible. Now, they do this by going into a kind of deep sleep state, and this is called the tun state. Now, the state is actually a form of cryptobiosis, and basically what happens is when they are in a hostile environment, they squeeze out more than 95% of the water from its body and kind of curls in on itself, entering like a dried out state. So that's why it's called the tun state. During this state, it will slow its metabolism to a teeny tiny fraction of normal levels. They have unique proteins that protect the cells from damage over long periods of time. And when it expels the water from its bodies, the proteins will form a tough cocoon around the tardigrade cells to keep it safe while it is in that state. Then when the tardigrade in the tun state is exposed to water, it can rehydrate and continue as if nothing happened. It is fascinating. They can survive almost anything except for very hot water. Their one weakness is water around 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 Celsius. For long periods of time. They can die within 1 day if exposed to that for too long. So that is like their critical weakness, is the fact that they can't be in a hot tub. But other than that, they can live up to a century in their dried out state. So 100 years. It is crazy. They are so cool. There are nearly 1,300 different species of water bears, and they all vary in size and makeup and diet, and they're all really, really cool. They were discovered by a German zoologist, Johann August Ephraim Goes, I don't know how to say it, in 1773, and then 3 years later, an Italian biologist, Lazzaro Spallanzani, named the group Tardigrada, or slow stepper, for the way they move, because they move very slowly, because they're just little guys. They're so little itty bitty. They don't have bones. They are very loose kind of creatures. Their entire like inside is filled with basically their version of blood that is filled with nutrients and stuff, really close to hemolymph. And then they don't have a spinal cord, but they do have a nervous system. And then they also do not have a circulatory or respiratory system. They intake oxygen from the water that enters their body through their skin. They are super cool little creatures. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Sorry it's so short, and sorry I low-key didn't post anything for a little while. It's been busy, but hopefully this will get me back started on the podcast train. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to see in specifics, but without further ado, I'll see you next time.